Thanks, Jordan. Sorry. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today at the May 29th, 2025 regular county council meeting. We're starting a little bit late today as MPC went a little bit over. However, we will open the meeting at 9:40 a.m. I would like to read our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge Athabasca County is located on First Nations Treaty 6 and Treaty 8 traditional territory. We respect and honor all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples' connection to these lands, their history, language, and culture. So before we start the approval of the agenda, are there any additions and deletions? None. All right, we will go through the items to determine which ones the council would like to discuss. The ones that I know of at this time are 2.1, 4.1, 5.2, 6.1, 6.2, 7.1, 7.3, 7.6, 7.10, 7.10, 8.1C, 8.2, 10.1F, which will happen in closed. And all of enclosed items, 12.1, 12.2, 12.3, 12.4, and 12.5. Go ahead, please, Councillor Cromwell.
Oh, sorry, no addition though, jumping the gun to approve as amended.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll note that. Does anybody else have anything further that they would like to discuss?
7.9.
7.9. Okay. Anyone else?
I guess maybe I should have added on it. It's just a report, verbal report on our summer village meeting
Okay, is that?
on the west side.
Convention workshops,
Summer village,
sure, we'll leave it as, yeah, I agree, 10.AI, we'll mention that as the Summer Village meeting,
oh, there we are. Yep.
okay? Alrighty, and if nobody else, 7.5, I would like to add. And I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, everything, I'll run through those again. Oh, go ahead.
7.7.
7.7,
Sure.
okay. Go ahead, Councillor Anderson.
We're 6.1 and 6.2 on there.
6.1, 6.2, correct? Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Anyone else? All right, I'll run through those again. So 2.1, 4.1, 5.2, 6.1, 6.2, 7.1, 7.3, 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, 7.9, 7.10, 8.1C, 8.2, 10.1F enclosed, 10.1 AI, and all of closed session items 12.1 through 12.5. And I believe we have a motion from Councillor Cromwell to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor? And no opposed, that is 7 and 2. Alrighty, so we're
Sorry, 7 and 0.
7. I'm sorry, I'm thinking I should have mentioned earlier, and I appreciate that 7 and 0, that we have two councillors that are absent in a FCM conference in Ottawa, which is Councillor Kapitanic and Councillor Wallach, and that's when I had the 2 in my mind. Yeah, right, could have been. Alrighty, and I assume we have nobody on Zoom, so I just double check that. All right, so if we can move forward, we will go on to which is our delegation, which won't happen until 11 a.m. And so we will move to item 5.2 on your agenda, which is page 33 of the package, and that is the Boyle Fish Pond. So go ahead, Councillor Anderson.
I'll move the recommended motion.
Okay, Councillor Anderson would like to move the recommended motion. I know in part of a conversation we've had before, just curious if this item will also be discussed at the intermunicipal committee with Boyle and the county. Do we know if it's on the agenda?
Madam Chair, I'll answer. It hasn't been placed on the agenda until council passes a motion. We're not even working on the project.
Okay,
So if you pass the motion, probably have some discussion with the village.
okay. Thank you. Alrighty, is there any further discussion? Okay, on the motion, Counselor Anderson would like to direct administration to proceed with the proposal received for Boyle Fish Pond engagement. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And opposed? 1, 2, 3. Actually, so it's 4 and 3. Motion carries. All right, so the next item we have is item 6.1, page 35 of your agenda. That is bylaw 012-2025, the procedural bylaw amendment. The recommendation here is that council give first reading to bylaw 012-2025. Is there any discussion from administration or council? Counselor Hall?
Sorry, are we moving a motion first or are we discussing first, just so that I'm clear on the process?
That's what I was just asking, if there's any discussion on the first reading.
Has someone moved first reading?
No, I was asking if there was any discussion.
At the committee of the whole, there was a discussion around whether it's legal to limit the number of times anyone at council, like to restrict councillors attending via electronic or remote means, and I just was wondering if admin had any new information to add to that question.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, what was there a specific request that you asked us to research?
At the committee of the whole meeting, there was a question about, is it even legal to limit the number of times a council can approve or can attend electronically? And it wasn't a specific motion. It was my impression from the meeting, it was something that would just be a takeaway to.
Okay, we could certainly review that if council so wishes between first and second or third reading. Wasn't sure. I guess as a person who's new here, since you had the procedural bylaw, I assume council of the day researched that before you adopted it with, I think you had a limit on attendance, so I assumed you had legal advice at that time, but we certainly could. If we're saying now that we passed a procedural bylaw without getting legal advice, we could probably do that in the future.
And if I may, we are still waiting for the template to come forward from the province, which may change a lot of this to begin with. So for me, I wouldn't be interested in going into a legal check on this and spending that money until we receive that template and see where we can go from there. Is there any other further discussion?
I'll go ahead with it. A member may attend a regular county council remotely no more than 6 times a year unless council approves additional and unless exonerating circumstances require additional remote attendance. So even though it's held at 6, the person could, the counselor could come into council and say, hey, for some reason something happened or something like that, can I do more of these? And then it's up to council if the person wants to have more meetings.
Or what?
Or what?
Like if we end up with someone hits their 6 and wants to attend the 7th time, or what? We just say no?
It becomes a decision of council.
Yeah, it becomes a decision of council. It's just, they need to actually come to a meeting and say.
And that becomes a question, is it legal for the rest of council to restrict someone from attending when they're able to
I think
in a legal way?
I think under the procedural bylaw, that's the legal way is to, this bylaw was adopted by council and it's not saying that you can't come and ask and council will make that decision. That's all it's saying. And I agree also, this is probably gonna be ripped up and changed and torn apart and everything by our provincial government, so. Yeah, I think we should just, I'll move first reading.
Okay, Councillor Mins would like to move to first meeting. Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you very much. I remember when we were talking about electronic attendance. And I remember some of the comments about, well, if you hit your 6, well, maybe you just don't attend. I think that was poor workmanship at the time. And I think that I would like to have a legal opinion on if you can go, hey, no, you cannot attend. Remembering that we've gone through pandemics where all meetings were done electronically for quite a while. Realizing that things happen between one part of the county and the next. Though I don't believe anyone's near that limit, I don't think it is appropriate or fair to go, hey, you've hit your 6, now you have to come in and talk to us. So you're going to perhaps miss meeting number 7 and not come here and represent, I think is short-sighted. But I will support first reading with the understanding that our administration would get us a legal answer before we move on to a second reading, so that we are being fair to our colleagues in the room, to our colleagues that are not in the room, and to future people that will be sitting at this table.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Do I need to make a formal request of administration to get a legal opinion on that? I believe I will make that as a formal motion after we're done first reading.
Okay, thank you. Any other further discussion? All right, Councillor Mins would like to move that council give first reading to bylaw 012-2025. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and opposed? 2. Thank you. And Councillor Cromwell would like to make a motion to direct administration to obtain a legal opinion regarding the amount of, how would you like to word that, amount of times council would like to, or council will be,
Regarding the legality
Okay.
of council limiting the number of times a councillor can appear electronically to a meeting.
and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the word electronically was replaced remotely by remotely. If you would like to use that word,
Happily, you can wordsmith that one.
thank you. And I will just check with Ms. Plourde if she was able to capture all of that. Fantastic. Alrighty. Is there any discussion on council? Go ahead, Councillor Anderson.
Thanks. I'm in support of this motion. I think when we originally put this clause into our procedural bylaw, we were dealing with a very different level of technology in our room as well. I don't think we had our new microphones yet. Our ability to live stream in Zoom has improved incredibly since then. And I mean, we now have a communications coordinator in the room with us. So I do think that our situation today is not the same situation we were in then. And because of that, this is something that I think we should revisit.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor Hall.
I think there's no harm in finding out the boundaries. And certainly the value of your contribution is not measured by your presence in this room. To me, that would be a mistake. And that's what I think it's just good. I think it's good that for us to check and find out, and then we can make a decision on what we want to do, but know where the guidelines are and know what the options are, and finding out whether it's even legal gives us a chance to choose. If it's legal, then we can make a choice, yes or no. If it's not, then we know where the boundaries are.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Mintz?
Everybody has different values. My value is to have everybody sitting around this table. That's what my value is. We can say what our value is. I don't think it's a mistake. I don't hear anybody saying mistake, but it's a value in my thoughts and opinions that we have everybody around this table instead of people all over God's green earth that can actually zoom in every meeting. I don't call that a value. So that's my point.
Thank you. Anyone else? As I mentioned before, I'm going to vote against that particular motion, just for the reason being that we are still awaiting the province to bring forward the template for a procedural bylaw. And for me, in spending dollars that may not necessarily be required is, I don't think we're in a hurry to do it. So I'm just going to mention that I would prefer for myself to wait for the template to come forward from the government. Go ahead, Councillor Cromwell.
I'll take last word, Councillor Chamzik.
I was just.
Can you move your microphone closer to your mouth?
Do we have any idea when that template is going to appear? Any
We don't.
timeline? Thank
And
you.
and as I mentioned earlier as well, that I don't think anybody's close to meeting the number 6 anyway, but go for it. Your last word, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I recall from discussions by administration, we have the ability to ask a quick question without gaining much legal fee. I'm hoping that a very quick question, hey, can we legally bind or legally stop or legally put a number on it, would be a very short and quick bit of communication. Even if not, in order to be fair to the people in and out of this room, to our ratepayers, to our public, our administration, to find out if we are operating legally or illegally, for lack of a better word, I think is very important. The ability to have that and be able to stand by a decision should we come to it, I think is worth that little bit of cost that may be occurred. Again, I'm confident that it can be a very quick question and a very quick answer going, yep, nope, and happy. So I would support my own motion. I would ask you to support my motion and be fair to this team and the teams yet to come, realizing bills will change, but we're also dealing with a government full of red tape. We can hope it'll come tomorrow. It could come 4 years, 3 days, and 2 months from tomorrow before they get it done. So we cannot put life on hold because we're waiting for information to come from a upper level of government. Thank you.
Thank you. Already, would you like to read your motion one more time? Or we all have it? We all have it. Do we need it read? Nope, we're good to go. If everybody's ready for that vote on Councillor Cromwell's motion, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, and opposed? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. All right, item 6.2 under your bylaws, page 42 to 57 of our administrative, agenda package. And this again is the bylaw 010-2025, the animal control bylaw. The recommendation, of course, is to give council give first reading to bylaw 010-2025. Would anyone like to Councillor Cromwell would like to provide that first reading direction? Just making a note here. Discussion, please. Go ahead, Councillor Anderson.
I'm just wondering, once first reading passes, are we planning on doing any public consultation for the animal control bylaw? Or hosting a public hearing for it? I know usually when we are going to host a public hearing, we schedule the date at the time of first reading. So that was just something I'd like to see for this, is at least a public hearing, if not some sort of other consultation.
Okay. Is that a formal motion you would like to make there for a public hearing?
It's a non-statutory public hearing.
It would be a non-statutory public hearing, so if there is will at the table to host something like that, or to go one way or the other with it, I would make that amendment, yes. And then if we could have discussion on dates, or ask administration what a potential date would be though, before making the formal amended motion, that'd be great.
Is administration able to weigh in on a date that would work for this?
Madam Chair, as soon as we could publicize it. So, I mean, generally it'd be about a month from now, generally, right?
So the last meeting in
Yep.
June 26th?
How about that?
Okay. So far in having this conversation, there is an amendment to give first reading to bylaw 010-2025, adding to host a public hearing on June 26th, 2025. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you. We talk frequently about public engagement. We talk frequently about interactions, and though it's not a requirement for a public hearing, I completely support it and would love to get some input from our ratepayer.
Thank you. The one thing that I noted in the discussion was the following, the committee of the whole meeting, the minor revisions were made to the draft bylaw. When I was going through the bylaw, I didn't, and I'm sorry, I didn't take the time to actually go in depth, but was just wondering if you could identify what the minor revisions are.
Madam Chair, absolutely. So in the COW meeting, we found two areas. There was a spelling error that we had in the in the word serious, missing an I. As well, we had feedback from Councillor Hall regarding the duplication of abandoned animals in section 14, as well as it being addressed in the definitions. We still require section 14, but we have amended so that the definition is as per the definition section, and we've just left the enforceability piece to 14.
Okay, thank you. And I know we discussed mushers as well.
Yes, Madam Chair, and upon further discussion after the meeting, we've opted to not exclude mushers. We've kept it to licensed businesses, so like kennels that require permitting and development permits. Are more of a business where unfortunately mushers is a very loose group. It's not a licensed group per se. So just to avoid having gray areas where I have 18 Yorkies as my mushing team, we've opted to keep it for now. And really the overlimit permit process is not meant to be onerous or incumbent on operations. It's just meant to be more of an education piece for us. So
Okay, thank you. So if a musher decides that they would like to start up a dog lot, I guess you could say, how would that fit?
Madam Chair, simply they just apply for an overlimit permit, and an enforcement officer would go out and again make sure they're educated to the bylaw and the requirements regarding
Okay,
noise and nuisance, and they get their permit. And as long as there's no complaints, that'd be it. That'd be the end of it.
awesome.
yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Fantastic. All right, is there any other further discussion? So on the amendment that was mentioned earlier, I guess we'll start with the amendment. And that is to host a public hearing for bylaw 010-2025 on June 26th, 2025. If I have that correct? Yep. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor? And it doesn't appear there's any opposed, so that's 7-0. So, Councillor Cromwell, under the recommendation that council give first reading to bylaw 010-2025 and further to host a public hearing on June 26, 2025. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor? And no opposed. Thank you very much. We will move to new business, which is the first item, 7.1, grants to organizations for the Magnificent River Rats Festival, page 58 of your package. Is there a motion? All right, well, we'll have a little discussion before the motion, I guess, if that's suitable. The recommendation from
I'll move the recommended motion.
okay, Councillor Mins would like to recommended motion. Alrighty, one thing that if I may open the discussion. So the motion that, Councillor Mins has mentioned is that the council approves $3,000 for the 2025 Magnificent River Rats Festival and directs administration to provide in-kind support for the event for setup and takedown of perimeter fencing valued at $5,400 for related wages and rental. One thing I noticed in conversation and, or in the agenda package is that the $3,000 is also being asked for fireworks in our next item, 7.2. And so I went back and forth in my mind, wondering this $3,000 plus another 3,000 plus the 5,400 seemed a little bit high. Considering the amount of other sponsorship that's happening, what the town of Athabasca has decided, I think they're limited as 3,000. So I just wondering if there's further discussion, if people would like to. Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you very much. I was reading that as well. And I didn't want to start off and be the bad guy in the group, but why not? I would like to amend that motion. The council approves a in-kind support for the event setup and takedown of perimeter fencing valued at $5,400 for related wages and rentals for the 2025 Magnificent River Rats Festival.
Okay. So basically it's the same motion minus the 3,000. Okay, so to leave it in kind. All right.
Madam Chair, would you like an explanation from administration? I think we have something before you debate it too much.
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
fair?
For sure. Thank you.
First of all, Madam Chair and members of council, good morning.
Mhm.
First of all, I just want to mention that the 5,400 is actually 5,900. We missed a $500 rental cost for the fencing in there. Secondly, the River Rats had originally asked for $5,000, I believe, yes. And we felt that we could match what the town was contributing, so we decreased the cost to $3,000. This particular one is, could you just explain, Angela, what this one is for? It's not for the fireworks, but it's for something different than that.
Madam Chair, it's my understanding that the town redirected $3,000 to the Magnificent River Rats as requested by the chamber. The same request did not come to us. This is because our portion will help pay for the fireworks via the chamber, and the town's portion will help with the setup, which will be managed by the River Rats. This is our understanding of how it's been clarified.
Go ahead, Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you. I understand wanting to match the contribution in cash by the town. Are they matching the in-kind support as well of that contribution? Question to administration.
Sorry, through the chair to Councillor Cromwell. I'm not aware if it's going towards their in-kind. I know there was funding that was reserved towards the festival. In terms of the chamber, I know that they have ordered the fireworks and they are involved essentially with the ordering, but not with the setup. So they've backed out with some of the responsibilities more on, so on the day of setting up the event and with the fireworks. So this is more, while it doesn't specify within the application if the costs are what they're being used towards, I would say it's to general expenses as the need arises.
Okay,
Within their budget, their expenses and their income, they do match. So there is a need for this 5,000.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, if I may, Madam
Mhm.
Chair, thank you. I definitely do appreciate that, and we are here to support activities in our community. And perhaps it's my way of looking at it. I see this as donating $3,000 twice over for fireworks, put under a different line, and asking for an in-kind donation now 5,900 versus 5,400. And that brings me, with my rough math, up to $12,000 for basically that day in that event. I look around our county and I look at where else can we put $3,000? Where else can that additional go for other parts and other members of our county? We have conversation coming up about fundraising for a playground, which I think is a very important bit of real estate for our young people. I cannot get behind both an in-kind donation of $5,900, our staff time taking away from other projects, that as well, from whatever situation may occur. We're in a very explosive time of the year, and if we have so many staff that are donated here and then other things come up and we're giving money on top of that, I think that just because we have some money left in our grants organization budget, I don't want to take a third of it out for a one-day event, and I cannot get behind 2 donations of $3,000 with that in kind.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Hall. I just was curious about the 5,400 when we first discussed, and then it's corrected to 5,900. Do we need a friendly amendment there too, or a friendly amendment, I guess, to make that change in both the amendment and the motion that was discussed earlier? Is that fair? Friendly amendment? Everybody's happy with that? Okay. There's one question that I did have, and I really appreciate in the report, the 2025 budget for grants to organization, and that it was 50,000. We increased that this year. I believe in 2024, it was hardly used. Is that accurate? Does anybody remember what the 2024 amount ended up being for the final, what we used for that budget? Because if I'm not mistaken, we really didn't utilize it very much at all. Is that accurate?
Chair Holland, size,
Okay,
I can relay back what that number is, but I know that there was a sizable amount left.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seem to remember that as well. Councillor Hall?
So a couple of things, but to start with a question through the chair to administration for clarity, how many requests has the Magnificent River Rats made to us?
Through the chair to Councillor Hall, there's been one request
Okay,
made.
so we have one request that we're debating, and it was for in-kind and $3,000. We're not debating 2 requests. They've not asked us for two requests of $3,000. They've asked us for $3,000. They asked us, I think, for more, and you said you reduced it. So I think we have to be careful. I mean, it's not legitimate to start weaving different organizations in. I mean, we are not talking about, we shouldn't do this because we're going to do the playground. This is an isolated request. Magnificent River Rats has asked us for some help with the fence, which the county has done for 20+ years or more. Pretty well every year they've had the festival, I think. And we are a large and robust organization that can certainly afford a $3,000 cash outlay to one of the, large, well-attended events that occurs in the region. It brings people together from all over the place. And I think we are spending, like, this is a reasonable spend, especially when we look at some of the other, we do other large donations, cash donations to other events and bring people together, and I think we should let this, we should pass this. But for clarity, I see nowhere where we've been asked for the money twice. It's the two organizations are having two events on the same day, or that are coordinating their events to make the day a bigger event, is not really relevant to the decision. If we get a request from the seniors to sponsor pie and ice cream at the senior center, are we going to now say, oh goodness, we've already done fireworks and this? Like, we're going to look at each one on its own merits, and I would encourage council to look at the merits of this particular request and not layer it up with a bunch of other stuff.
Thank you. Counselor Jemsek?
I can agree with, mostly with what Mr. Call has said. When we look at this, it's quite costly, I guess, when you take in the account of our related wages and rentals and whatnot, and the 3,000. But I do recall that during budget discussions, it being very sizable of the amount unused. And I mean, at the end of the day, this is a huge attraction for not only our county residents, but outside and coming into our beautiful region and being able to have a look and see the opportunities here. It's a great way to also showcase.
Thank you. Okay, Counselor Anderson and Counselor Hall.
Thank you. It takes a lot of energy and effort and different community groups coming together to host something at the scale of the River Rats Festival. And while we may look at it as one day and one big event for the community, it's actually a lot of different groups coming together to make that happen. And sometimes multiple groups are going to need help to do their part. And so I'm in favor of this donation and of the one that we approved with our agenda, because it's two groups coming together to make something really amazing happen for the community. And so for that reason, I'm in favor.
Thank you, Counselor Hall.
Just as a correction, I might have said it was a one-day event. I think it's actually a two-day event. But also, at the risk of speaking twice, I would just add the one thought that I think we should consider there's a benefit to the employees of the county, or the CAO's employees, to being able to be part of community events. And that's one of the things I think is important for organizations, is when the staff can say, we're going to get together and have organizational support, and then they get to participate in a way that they can be proud that my employer supports making our community a good place to be. And so whether it's here or at other events in other places, I would say that same philosophy holds for me.
Thank you, Counselor Gerlach.
Yeah, again, the assistance to set up and whatever has been there for 20 years. This is probably the first year there was ever a number put on it. And so it makes it look somehow distorted. But I thought when they made the presentation and they asked for $5,000, I thought that was well received at the time. And the fact that it's reduced to 3 is a little step back. This is a community thing that involves the citizens of the town of Athabasca, the summer villages, the county, and everyone benefits equally across the board. Everybody has access to it because it is free. There are no restrictions to anybody. And these are the types of events that really should be promoted heavily by local governments at whatever level. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to the $5,000 contribution that they originally asked for if it was required.
I was just going to ask, is that an amendment you would like to make?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Counselor Gerlach. And I love these healthy discussions, because that's where we sit and we're open-minded and amendable to persuasion, and understanding what administration has said and what has been said around the table. I'm definitely in favor of Amendment 2 as well. So Amendment 2, if there's no further discussion, Counselor Mins. Do you want to what? Sorry?
Just have my last.
Oh, after the,
Then I'll do it after the event.
Does that work?
Yeah.
All right. So the second amendment is that council approve $5,000 for the 2025 Magnificent River Rats Festival and directs administration to provide in-kind support for the event for setup and takedown of perimeter fencing valued at $5,900 for related wages and rental. Okay, I think I have that correct, Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you. And I'm gonna be that guy right now on page 69 of your agenda. The second last line in their budget is another word for reserve for next year's event, valued at $3,427. 2026 advance, unless you can explain to me that that is not, that I'm reading that as a reserve put in for the following year.
Can you tell us the page number you're?
Page number 69 of your agenda.
Okay, 69. Sorry, I heard 59, so I was looking for it. Sorry.
Second line from the bottom, 2026 advance. To me, an advance is no different than a reserve, valued at $3,427 added to their budget.
Okay, so
So I understand that as they are preparing for next year's event. And the $3,000 as requested in our budget is going to their advance for next year's event. That is where, and forgive me that I didn't finish that conversation before, is where I was opposed to a $3,000 cash on top of our in-kind, when, for my understanding of their budget, is simply putting it away for the following year.
okay, I appreciate your thoughts there. Thank you, Councillor Mins and then Councillor Hall.
One thing we must remember that it's a budget. Budgets aren't, they're wrote on stone, but budgets can be changed. So I think they're just throwing that in there just to say, okay, we possibly could have a little bit of money left, but chances are they're probably not. Something will happen, they'll have to spend more money somewhere or something like that. And if they do, great, then that'll show up in next year and say, okay, well, now we actually only need $2,000 instead of the $5,000 or something like that. That's the only thing I'm looking at is budgets can be moved around. So that was pretty actually onerous of them to actually put that in. So my thoughts.
Thank you, Councillor Hall and then Councillor Chamsick.
Well, I just wanted to add that while I appreciate, there's concerns, there's no context to that. You've not told us what they came into the year with. And for all these organizations to run, they need to have a base amount of block of funds that they use to start next year's operations. And so they take that at the beginning of this year. And so if they start off with a block of cash that we don't see here because this is an income statement, not a balance sheet, we can't make a decision based on seeing a $3,400 line because we don't know the rest. And so I think we need to be really careful about passing judgment in that way because we don't have the full context. They may have brought cash into the year and they're just, the way they're showing that is really saying we're replenishing savings that we use to get rolling. Seed money, I think would be the term.
Thank you, Councillor Chamsick.
I agree with that. Many of the nonprofits and events that operate within our towns and areas set themselves up in a way for those residual events to make sure that they have that building block to, whether it be to pay for hotels for their casinos or those down payments for those bands for the next year for their event. I mean, to me, I think it's a good start to pre-planning for the next 2027 year and 28 and so on.
Thank you. Alrighty, is there any further discussion on Amendment 2? And just as a reminder, that council approves $5,000 for the 2025 Magnificent River Rats Festival and directs administration to provide in-kind support for the event for setup and takedown of perimeter fencing valued at $5,900 for related wages and rental. If there's no further discussion on that amendment, all those in favor? And opposed? 6 and 1. So I'm really not sure how this is gonna flow into Amendment 1. Other than I'm just going to read Amendment 1. That council approves the 2025, and I hope I have this correct, the council approves the 2025 Magnificent River Rats Festival and directs administration to provide in-kind support for the event for setup and takedown of perimeter fencing valued at $5,900 for related wages and rental. I don't think I need to mention the dollar figure from Amendment 2. Okay, all right, so all those in favor? Oh. Do I have that incorrect? That's what I
No,
was wondering.
this is what, I mean, if you wanted to stay at $5,000 though, you need to defeat Amendment 2.
Correct.
But really, amendments can be just a strike word. So really, I think the spirit of the amendment is to strike out the cash part of the donation and leave the rest alone. As long as we understand that's what's happening, and in order to move ahead, I think you need to defeat this.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarity. So does everybody understand what's happening here? So Amendment 1 was to strike out the value and leave in kind. Everybody's understanding? All right. All those in favor?
I,
And opposed? Alrighty, so that Amendment 1 fails. So on the original motion, Counselor Mins would like that council approves $5,000 for the 2025 Magnificent River Rats Festival and directs administration to provide in-kind support for the event for setup and takedown of perimeter fencing valued at $5,900 for related wages and rental. If there's no further discussion, although, did you want final word? All right.
Yeah, he does.
My final word is everybody around the table, other than Councillor Cromwell, stole everything I wanted to say. Just regarding this is community, this is a free event that exactly what Councillor Gerlach said, that enhances community, not only for the town and Summer Villages and who knows, people come in also from other areas, maybe Calling Lake and MD of Opportunity.
Look.
Yeah, Manook, Prairieville, Donnetville. So I think it's a great thing. I just wanted to thank everybody for all their positive comments on this.
Thank you. That's awesome. Wonderful community spirit here in the room today. If we're ready for the vote. No further discussion. All those in favor? And opposed? 6 and 1. Thank you, folks. All right, we're moving on to 7.3, which is page 86 of your agenda package. And this is for the Community Assistance Grant, Haslin School Council Fundraising Committee. And I believe Councillor Chamsey, go ahead.
With that, I would like it to be received. I'm not sure. I noted one thing while reading this agenda, that it was set out in April. In March, I went and I read an article that Northern Lights Public Schools announced on March 20th and then March 28th that the pre-planning has started for Buffalo Lake Métis Settlement operated school. So I read the article and went into their capital plan, and it said that the third party is being built on the settlement with it's the only Métis settlement with no school, believe it or not, in all of Alberta. I thought that was kind of interesting. A new school in Buffalo Lake would replace the current Caslan school, which most of the students from Buffalo Lake attend, was written into the report that I did read, just to put that out on the table.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to put the motion forward that council receive
Yes,
this report as information regarding the county's contribution of $5,000 to the Caslan School Council Fundraising Committee for the replacement of the school playground? Is there a discussion? Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, through the chair to administration. When was this request originally made? Because the admin report says that the school's current playground is deteriorating due to age, making it less accessible and more hazardous. The old playground will be dismantled this spring. But the old playground was dismantled, I believe, last spring. It has been gone for a while. Those kids have not had a playground all school year. So I'm just kind of wondering when the request was originally made. And I also just wanted to note that this is the only playground in the hamlet. So whether it's the actual school attendees that are using it or people coming out to the provincial park or to the lake residences in that area, or farm kids like mine who just want to go to town and meet up with a friend, that is the only playground in the area, and it has been missed this year.
Through the chair to Councillor Anderson, this request was made in April of 2025.
Okay, Councillor Cromwell?
Thank you. And though I did not realize that there is no playground in that hamlet, and forgive me, I don't get much past the lake when I come down there, but I do love to hit up the store, but I haven't actually looked at the playground situation. We're talking about our children, our community's children. And yes, we have heard about the new school, and that may or may not impact the students at the Caleb School and what is happening over there. However, I think that having I was going to say safe, but now a place for, and keep the word safe in there, place for children to play and be children and get away from a screen and technology and a tablet and go out, go on a slide, go learn how to monkey bar. Or we're not building slides like we did when we were young, where you burn yourself and you light yourself on fire by touching them. We have great technology. We have great things out there. I would actually like to, I think, make a separate amendment that will, a second motion rather, that will not work as an amendment. I think that would be the way that I have to do it. I'll tell you what it is, and you can tell me if I can make that as an amendment, or if it's way too far out to left field, that it'll have to be a separate motion.
May I have some clarity first from administration with regards to this report before we go there? It may satisfy what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You can give.
Madam
it a try.
Chair, I was going to weigh in. Just so you know, this was one of the grants that administration has authority to approve. We already did approve it. We're just
Yep.
asking you to accept the report so the council's aware. We're required to tell council when we've donated a ball cap and 2 pens. We thought it would probably be appropriate to advise council when we approve a donation of $5,000 for a playground. We've already done that. It's done. We're just advising council that we did it, and it's a great cause. So you're not actually debating whether or not to approve the grant. We already did it.
Thank you. And that's the clarity I was looking for. On page 87, it does mention Caslen School Council fundraising, council $5,000. So I was just, for clarity, was going to just ask, is that exactly what you had said? The approved grant? If I'm not mistaken, is that the approved grant that we're referring to?
That's the approved grant.
Yes, thank you very much. So that's the clarity. So
Okay.
it's already done.
I'll make another motion after we approve this one.
All right. All right. Is everybody ready to go forward with receiving this report as information? Yes, all those in favor? Thank you. That passes 7-0, and Counselor,
Everybody was in favor of that.
yes, 7-0. Counselor Cromwell, your motion, please.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to word it a little bit differently now, but I would like County Council to direct administration to donate another $2,500 to the Caslen Playground project. Realizing now that they do not have a playground at all, I definitely on board with making sure we have a safe place for our children to play. So I would like to see that number put up another $2,500.
Okay, so that would be over and above the initial grant. Okay. Is there any discussion? All righty. On the motion that council directs administration to include another $2,500 to the Caslen School Council Fundraising Council, I'm assuming that's where it would go? Is there any discussion with, for the playground project. Correct. Okay, so we'll add for the playground project. Right. All right. Conversation, Counselor Mintz.
So we've already approved $5,000 for this, and now we want to approve another 2,500, which is okay, but we have other partners in the area that aren't proving anything yet either, right? So I don't know. Do we need to approve more right now, or I just don't understand. I don't understand the reasoning why we want to add more on at this point.
If I may, Madam Chair, we were just told that we have one of our hamlets where a bunch of our children live and rural residents that have absolutely no playground left in their community. I don't know what other partner you, my colleague might be talking about. It is a Athabasca County hamlet with Athabasca County residents who are remote, unlike people that live within 15 kilometers of Athabasca. It is a chore and a challenge to come in and go to things like our playgrounds, our splash parks, our multiplexes. We have to use what local infrastructure we have available for our more remote hamlets. So the value in adding $2,500 for the children of that community to have a safe place to play is invaluable. I don't think you can put a number on having somewhere safe that children can go. We can get to the argument of talking about, well, they can go play out in the forest. Well, sure they can. And, they can carry some bear spray and a crossbow and protect. We can go down a rabbit hole. My point is, they have nothing in a community. We have funds available. Let's help out the children in our community and build them a safe place.
Thank you. You're good? All right. And I guess I do have a question for administration with regards to the Community Assistance Grant 2025 budget. It is set at 35,000. If we have more requests coming in, we do have the ability to amend that budget. Is that accurate? Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair, you could take from reserves.
Thank you very much. All right,
If the River Rats can move money around, so can we.
there you go. All right, so on Councillor Cromwell's motion to provide an additional $2,500 to the Castle School Council Fundraising Council for their playground project. All those in favor? That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and opposed? 2. So thank you. That motion passes. All righty, so that's 7.3. We're on to 7.5, the financial variance report on page 131 of your agenda. And the recommendation here is to receive the April 30th, 2025 financial variance report and bank statement as information. Councillor Cromwell would like to put that recommendation forward in that motion. Would administration like to weigh in on this report?
Madam Chair and members of council, before you is the variance report, and I just want to point out that our managers didn't get a chance to weigh in and make any transactions to adjust some of the coding because we were dealing with the fire and everybody was quite busy. But we felt it was still important for council to receive the report. So within the report, you'll see some changes that we'll be making. We want to sit down with the managers to make sure that we get the codes right. But we did go to an extent of outlining some of the changes that, the public might see that are off. We just want to provide some explanations.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I know these reports are extremely onerous to complete and there's a lot of work that goes into it. So I really appreciate the heads up on all the different items that are listed on our request for decision and the administrative report here. Did anybody else want to have any further discussion on the financial reports? Go ahead, Councillor Hall.
Through the chair, there's sort of 2 questions for administration. First one is, are there any items in the variance report that concern you that you want to draw to council's attention? in terms of, being significantly under or over budget? Or otherwise?
We're just missing, yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that question and through the chair. There's one section under road construction that will be making some recommendations to council. Once we get a chance to talk to the director and the manager, there's just some coding issues in there. We probably didn't catch it when we were developing the budget. So there's some expenditures in there and, in fairness to staff, they're trying to code things accurately, but the codes just aren't available within the budget. So we'll likely bring that to council for, probably a formal budget transfer.
Awesome, thank you.
And the second question, on the water budget, certainly we're 40% of the way through the projected deficit at a third of the way through the year. Are you at all worried that that's going to escalate? Are we going to be able to keep that within budget?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question.
When I look at our net loss on water, we're a third of the way through the year to the end of April, and we're 40% of the way through our projected deficit. And I'm just wondering if you have a comment on the solution you're starting to think of.
I'll comment. I mean, this is directly related to the rates that council just set. At the end of the year, the deficit's going to be what the deficit is. We really don't know what it will be. This will be a moving target as water usage varies. And it was noted to council that this would be a subsidized service. How much, we're unsure.
Thank you. And I also will mention it's the summer months and sales of water will increase greatly. So I would imagine that will work itself out for sure. Is there any other further discussion? Alrighty, so on the recommendation from Councillor Cromwell to receive the April 30th, 2025 financial variance report and bank statement as information. If we're ready for the vote, all those in favor? Thank you. And it doesn't look like there's any opposed. That's 7-0. And next item, we have 7.6 revised fire fleet replacement, page 176 to 177 of your package. Get there here. There we go. Alrighty, so the recommendation here is that council approves the purchase of the 4 fire apparatus as identified through the current capital budget. And I apologize, I didn't pull the capital budget, but I see it sitting right over here. Are we able to identify the districts that these items are going to?
Madam Chair, so the revised plan, we will be coming back in camera later today to go through that plan in depth. But these units benefit 4 different districts, and it does result in a truck shuffle. So replacing a vehicle in one station, moving it to another. So it will ultimately benefit 5 different districts. And they will be going after the vehicles in worse condition. So the ones that are primarily benefiting from this right now are Rochester, Collington, and Richmond Park are the 3 biggies. And then we have trickle down effect to other stations as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Is there a motion that someone would, Councillor Hall, would, as recommended? All right, is there any further discussion? Councillor Anderson.
The admin report says that this change is being made because a unit is being purchased from R&R funds. However, with regards to our purchasing goods and services policy, I don't recall us approving that purchase. So will that also be coming back to us to make sure that it's in alignment with the policy? And
To the chair, to Councillor Anderson, this will absolutely be discussed in camera later.
wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Going once?
I'll wait.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, Councillor, go ahead, Councillor Anderson.
I'd like to move to table this item until after the closed session.
You would like
Closed
to
session discussion.
table this item till after the closed session items? All right, that's non-debatable. If everybody's ready to go forward with tabling this item till after the enclosed discussion, all those in favor? And opposed? 6 and 1, we will table this item after closed item sessions, just making a note here for myself. So we will go to item 7.7, the multiplex request, page 178 of your agenda package. And again, this recommendation here is that council approve the requests from the Athabasca Regional Multiplex Society to utilize the ACI funds for the immediate purchase of 2 boilers for the aquatic center. And I can't remember,
Oh,
was that yourself that asked for that? Okay,
yeah, and I'll move the recommended motion. I
Okay.
just wanted to, I don't know, just say great work by the Arms Committee and the people working at the multiplex to be able to obtain a couple of boilers. That's positive. And I just like to just send that out there.
awesome. Thank you. I echo that. I think this is great news for the multiplex and good work is being done for sure. Thank you. All right, so on the motion, as Councillor Mins has directed that council approve the request from the Athabasca Regional Multiplex Society to utilize the ACI funds for the immediate purchase of 2 boilers for the aquatic center. Is there any further discussion? Alrighty, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor? And I don't see any opposed, so that's 7-0. Thank you. All right, 7.9 is the next item on page 182. That is for the Trans-Canada Trail Spring Care cleanup. Councillor Hall,
I have no comments. I just wanted it on the agenda.
you wanted it on the agenda. Okay. So the recommendation here is to direct administration to advertise a volunteer call out for the June 14th, 2025 Trans-Canada Trail Spring Care cleanup on Athabasca County social media and website channels using 2024's ad as a template, and further to add the Athabasca Landing Trail, the Trans-Canada Trail, and the Peace River Trail, also the Trans-Canada Trail, to the Athabasca County website under Parks and Recreation. Is there just,
I'll happily own that.
you would like that motion? Okay, Councillor Cromwell. Is there any discussion? If we're ready for the vote, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and opposed? That's 2. So 5 and 2. Thank you. And 11:15, so we are moving to item 7.10, donations, page 183. The recommendation here is to receive the report for information. I added this item for discussion, so I'll just go forward. I find that the letter that Rocky Lane Fairways sent was really great information and something that not only they can be very proud of, but as a county, we should be very proud of as well. And I'd like to point out the one paragraph that says, did you know that disc golf is one of the fastest growing sports in the world? And Rocky Lane Fairways is becoming a destination place to play. We are currently ranked number 1 out of 100 courses in Alberta and number 4 out of 790 courses in Canada. I think that is absolutely amazing and incredible and something that we definitely should very be proud of and promote as well. Go ahead, Councillor Hall.
As it relates to the item, then I would like to move the motion
Okay.
to receive it for information, but to add the words and to direct administration to provide advice on revisions to policy 6275 and to bring it to council by the end of August 2025. In speaking to that, I think it's silly that administration is spending time writing up an admin report on $100 items, 2 pens and a hat, as I think we've heard today. I think council needs to know this stuff. I just think there's a better, more efficient, streamlined way to get this out there. And we have so many things that we're asking our admin to do. Surely we can give them the break of telling us what they think about whether this is a good use of their time or not. So I think there's better ways to get this information out. We need to know the county's present and doing stuff. This is a bad use of their time. And so I'd just like to give admin the opportunity to rewrite the policy and give us the benefit of their advice on whether this actually makes sense.
Thank you.
Can I just get that second part of that motion repeated? My hearing on this side is not as good as you would like to.
To direct administration to provide advice on revisions to policy 6275 and to bring to council by the end of August 2025.
Okay, Thank you. And I appreciate that. I agree. I think that this is something that could really go into the information portion of our agenda. I really like seeing these letters and getting this information from these groups. I think it's great to have that and share that out with our public and our residents. I do also have a secondary question, and I'm not sure if administration's able to answer, but and I haven't looked, and I'm very sorry. I know the website's looking really good. We had, and our previous website mentioned different entities that we have within the county as golf courses, Skeleton Lake, et cetera. But I never did see Rocky Lane Fairways. Is that something that's still on our website, the new website? And if so, is it something that we would be able to add to include them as well as part of our recreation items?
I'll do a double check. If they're not there, I can very easily add them.
That's fantastic. Do we don't need a motion for that, or do we need a motion? Okay.
I can just do it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. So well done, Rocky Lane Fairways. Looking forward to their upcoming tournament. That's going to be excellent. So on the motion that we have on the floor to receive the report for information and to review policy 6275 for administration to provide advice and bring that back at the end of August. If everybody is ready for that vote, all those in favor? Thank you. That's 7-0. I didn't see any opposed. Awesome. All right, at 10 to 11, I'm watching the time here. We are moving on to information 8.1C, page 198 of your agenda. Where are we at here? All right. So this one I asked to be added. So if I may start with regards to this information. I'll throw it's probably poorly worded, but I'll attempt to throw a motion on the floor here with regards to the senior symposium and that we do historically yearly, and with regards to what the government of Alberta is also asking of municipalities. I would like to put a motion to direct admin to complete the sample community declaration provided by the government of Alberta and email the signed copy by May 31st, as directed by the Ministry of Seniors, Community and Social Services. I think it's a really great opportunity to for the county to use these declarations for Seniors Week, as we do celebrate our seniors during the first week of June. It is a large demographic here in the county, and I think that it just would be really nice to see that we do that. So just thought I'd put that out there if council would like to discuss. Councillor Anderson and then Councillor Chamsick.
We currently have a policy 6805 that specifically says Athabasca County Council will not proclaim any special days, weeks, or time periods for any reason. And administration shall respond to any such inquiries by declining to make any such proclamations. So I understand the intent of this, but I think that the right path forward would be to amend the policy prior to going against it and doing a proclamation against the policy, because that way you're treating everybody the same and not just singling out one specific topic.
Okay, is it possible and I totally understand what you're saying, and yeah, 6805 definitely should be on the table for amendment. I'm wondering if we can add that to the motion and further to bring back policy 6805 for further discussion and amendment. Is that something that council would like to entertain? Would that be a friendly amendment that we can add to that motion to bring back 6805? Yeah. Are we okay with this? Go ahead.
I'm opposed because I think you should amend the policy prior to doing the declaration. I don't think you should do the declaration before you amend the policy.
Okay. I think then I'll add an amendment and we can work on that amendment. So, and that would be to bring back policy 6805 for amendment and discussion. Is that okay with?
Can you repeat all of your motion?
Sorry?
Can you repeat all of your motion, or perhaps
So the amendment or the,
Both. I want to hear how this is worded
okay,
again.
so the amendment would be to direct administration to bring back policy 6805 for amendment and discussion by council. Amendment and or discussion and or amendment, I guess would be the way to go. Go ahead, Councilor Gurlott.
Isn't this June 2nd?
Pardon me?
Isn't this declaration June 2nd?
Yeah, it would have to be emailed May 31st.
Which is day after tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to look at the policy before that.
Well, I think I will ask for administration's advice. I think that council can make the decision to go outside of policy. So I would like to ask and confirm with administration if that is accurate.
Madam Chair, it's my interpretation that council can go against its own policy.
Yes, thank you. So this would, the amendment would be to satisfy dealing with the policy 6805 in the future. All right, any further discussion on that amendment? Councilor Chamsey.
Well, I personally, I love it. I think it's a good idea with all the great events coming up in this next week. I mean, as we've spoken earlier today, our seniors being a huge demographic. And I think it's time, as much as things change, and I personally feel that this is an important declaration. It's a huge demographic of our people, and I don't see any harm in noting them.
Thank you. Councilor Hall.
I feel like this is really putting the cart before the horse. We have a policy that prohibits declarations, and it's set up by prior councils for good reason. I think we should get admin's advice on the proclamation policy. We've never discussed this. And for me, it warrants full consideration before jumping ahead and acting without the benefit of administrative advice or even a council discussion. And so I agree that it'd be more appropriate to consider advice from our administration on the policy and engage in a discussion that considers all of that. And I mean, on the side, I also kind of think that if the intent was to push this forward in this way, it should have come through as an RFD so that there would have been time to reflect on it and consider it rather than being asked to make a decision on something that shows up in the admin or the info section when we already clearly have a policy that prohibits it. So, while I may support the idea of having some declarations, I think it would be important for us to not jump ahead and to have a robust discussion first and understand why we don't do them before we just start arbitrarily doing them.
Thank you. Councilor Cromwell.
Thank you very much. I've always been and always will be an advocate for our seniors. We're talking about, yes, we have a policy about declaration, and yes, policy is meant or is able to be bent and or blatantly ignored by council or worked around as we need to. It is not meant to completely tie our hands. It is not a bylaw. And to declare Seniors Week without pulling the policy apart is no big ask. We have a huge population of seniors in our area, both current and past, and many coming up who have given their lives, spent in Athabasca County. We're not talking about how I'm going to propose January 18th as Cromwell Day after we talk about the policy. We're not going there yet. But to support our seniors, it's a no-brainer. I don't understand how we can argue about caring about a huge part of our population, giving a little bit of recognition. We're not rewriting the workings of our council. We are not changing anything but going, thank you very much for everything that you have done. We value and appreciate you. I think it's no different than caring about our children is caring about our seniors.
Thank you. And is there any further discussion on this amendment? Alrighty, so on the amendment to direct administration to bring back policy 6805 at a future, I guess it would be, would it be committee of the whole? For discussion and possible amendment. If we're ready for that, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and opposed? Were you 4? Okay, sorry, I didn't see your hand. 7 and 0 on the amendment. So on the original motion to direct administration to complete the sample community declaration provided by the Government of Alberta and email the signed copy by May 31st as directed by Ministry of Seniors, Community and Social Services, and further to bring back policy 6805 for discussion and amendment at a committee of the whole meeting. If we're ready for the vote, all those in favor? And opposed? 6 and 1. Thank you. And I believe we're getting ready for our delegation. It is 11, but do we have a couple of minutes just for people to refill their coffees? And so if we could do that be back by 11:05, please. Good morning, everyone. We are back from our slight recess there. Councillor Cromwell is now joining us via Zoom. And we are at the stage of our agenda, which is our delegation 4.1 annual update from the Northern Light Library System. And we have James McDonald here with us. Yeah, you'll need the microphone. I'm not sure if we need, are you familiar with everyone? Do we need introduction?
So I'm pretty familiar with you all now. Thanks.
Right? I think you know us all well. So thank you so much for being here. Welcome, and please go ahead with your presentation.
Well, thank you. I'll start by just thanking you for your commitment to Northern Lights and for all the work you put in. Your Councillor Chamsuk is on our executive committee. She puts in a lot of work, and so we appreciate the service on that level. Northern Lights, as you know, is one of 7 regional library systems in the province. You have the fortune of being placed geographically in the best of the 7 regional library systems, Northern Lights. We have over 60 participating communities. I say communities because we do have now 4 First Nations. And we have 50 odd public libraries. So that's pretty impressive. I don't know of any other municipal community program where you're all signed, like that many municipalities are signed on to one thing. So it's very, very exciting. Serving your community or your county, you have, of course, the Athabasca Library, Grassland, Wandering River, Boyle, and Rochester municipal libraries. So I don't know if did we send out the 2024? Okay, good. So you're looking at the same numbers I'm looking at. So in 2024, nearly 7,200 ebooks and e-audiobooks were circulated in the community, and 51,400-ish physical books were trucked out here by our vans to these various communities for your residents, which is a lot of books. If your community members were to just say, hey, you know what, forget libraries, we'll just buy everything we need, send all that money to Jeff Bezos, they would have spent $1.9 million to do that. Hence why Jeff Bezos is so rich. Your cost to be a member of Northern Lights Library System was $43,000 in 2024. We don't use that just for operations. There's capital in there, almost $17,000 of that siphoned off for what we call book allotment. So the libraries have access to purchasing books. Most of those books they purchase through us. They can purchase on their own and we reimburse them or whatever for that. So really if you're just looking at the physical circulation numbers, which we do a lot more than that, you're getting back almost $70 for every dollar invested in Northern Lights. And speaking of all the things we do, I don't have time, nor do you want me to talk about all the things we do, but I will leave this service catalog here for your perusal, and just kind of goes through the various things that we do provide your community. One of the things I will mention is that we do have professional librarians that by law we're required to employ, consultants. These folks have graduate degrees in library studies, they know policy, they know collection development, they know a variety of things. And if they don't know it, they have access to the people that do know it. And so the staff in these libraries can contact them and work with them on a variety of topics, including the rest of our staff. We estimate, we took at least 233 calls from your libraries in 2024. We're really being conservative here, but we estimate that would have cost 20 grand alone just in staff time. The reality is you wouldn't be able to hire a team to do that for that kind of price, but we had to put a dollar figure on it there somewhere. Nearly 1,700 books purchased by your libraries through us in 2024. Purchasing through us because we buy in bulk. We actually bought more than $400,000 worth of books in 2024. They saved $16,000 just in discounts there, plus an additional almost 7 grand in the processing and the cataloging and all that for those libraries. So you're getting quite a bit of that. Nearly 1,600 households in the county have a library card in them. So that doesn't mean that those are the only people using the library, by the way. There are many people that come through the doors that use the Wi-Fi, that use the computers, that go to the programs, that might not necessarily get a library card. So I'll just touch on a few milestones in 2024, a few things. All the libraries got new websites. We host all your websites and support them in that. So we're excited about that. They've got much better functionality, the ability, for example, to take registrations for programming, for reading programs, for kids and tots program, whatever. They can register online, which is great and helps them manage those programs. The other thing we added, we actually built a website, I think I mentioned here before, called Go Library. So it's just golibrary.ca. If you can't spell library, we also got the domain golibrary.ca, so it'll take you there as well. But that site is designed to allow you to do self-registration. So meaning, and the Go Library site is pointed specifically to people in First Nations, helping them identify the closest library to them and then register online. But we built that same technology into the library websites. So if your county resident was like, oh finds out about the library, oh, I'd really like to take out that book, whatever, but I don't want to get into the library and they can go onto the website, register in a matter of minutes. We tried to make it as simple as Netflix, sign up for Netflix, except we don't ask for your credit card. So they can do that, get registered, and immediately start using the electronic resources right away. No waiting. So if it's Sunday at midnight, they can do that, which we're very excited about, and we've seen quite a bit of use of that. So we're grateful for it. The other thing that happened in 2024, which was pretty awesome, was we did welcome Kihiwan Cree Nation as a member of Northern Lights. I'm just working with them to get SuperNet installed in what's going to be their new library location. So we're very excited. And Art Smith Aviation Academy, which is a school in Cold Lake, contracts with us now. So it's our first contract service to a school library. It's a great partnership. So if you're aware of, have connections with your school and you send them my way, I'm sure we can save them money and connect them to the wider system. I mentioned that we spent $400,000 on books last year, but we are connected to 3 other regional library systems. And so altogether, you're probably looking at $1.5 million worth of new books that your patrons have access to. The catalog itself has over 3 million items in it, and they can request them and we ship them out to you, right? So it's very, very cool. So some really cool initiatives in 2025, and the first one's already done and it's available. Wireless printing. So you can go to your libraries and print from your iPad, your phone, whatever, which is a really great security feature. And it's a great privacy thing, because before, often what would happen is patrons would come in and send their divorce papers or their medical papers or whatever by email to the library manager. And so unfortunately, library manager won't know everything about everybody in town anymore, but you will be able to get your printing done. And in fact, you could actually print from home. You can print from right here. You can find you have to know the code, but once you get that, you can print and then go down to the library later and release the job. So it's kind of handy. And the other great thing, TrackPack Plus. We are getting a brand new catalog in 2025. The front end is going to be all new. Which, lipstick on it, I guess, is one thing, but it's the functionality is going to be much, much improved. So people will be able to find the things they're looking for. One of my favorite things that does is right now, if you search for an item, you might see like the paperback and the hardback and the Blu-ray and the DVD and the audiobook, and it all, and you got to scroll through it and stuff's all filled. They roll all that up into one record. And make it really simple for you to be able to identify like exactly what you're getting, right? So looking forward to that. I know it sounds silly, but it is a big improvement. So that should roll out in the 3rd quarter of this year. And finally, the other thing we're going to pilot in the 3rd quarter as well, 4th quarter actually of 2025 is some shelf ready. So we're working with a few of our vendors to get the books delivered to us all ready to go, where we're not doing it necessarily in-house. They come with the stickers and the labels and all that sort of stuff, and then we can send them out directly to libraries. We hope that will speed things up a little bit and reduce some of our costs. So we are working hard on the efficiency side. So take a deep breath. That's a lot of information. I also leave our budget, 2025 budget and our plan of service. I will say, as far as budget goes, we are continuing to push the 1.5% increase. We're working hard to be as efficient as possible for sure, but also recognize that costs continue to go up. We're trying to make it manageable for our municipalities in budgeting. And so we're committed to that 1.5%. So right now, I think your bill is $5.47 per resident based on the 2019 population list. It'll go to $5.55 in 2026. So yeah, any questions, concerns, thoughts?
Of course, always happy to have you. I'm just wondering, are we seeing any success with the Go Library, like in this region?
Yeah, it'd be good if I break down get the stats specifically for your region. I'll try to get that for you next time we meet up in a meeting. I don't have those off the top of my head, but I will say that in 2024, we added 1,000 new members from Indigenous communities in the region. There's only 13,000 people. So that's incredibly significant. I know there's quite a bit from this region, like Kikino and Buffalo Lake and Beaver Lake have really taken this up, but I'll try and get you the specific numbers of that next time
That'd be great. And, I just want to say one of the other great things about the services that's awesome is that, being a chair of a board, meeting with our consultant as well is another great service that just enhances our level of service in all of our libraries. Value statements, James, to me are just exactly that. They're invaluable. And, it's I appreciate the amount of work and I know all the amount of efficiencies that we put into the board to bring it to the table. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Please, Councillor Hall.
What would it take to move your physical operations to our region?
Oh, sheesh. Yeah, that's a great question. What would it take? Probably money. I mean, at the end of the day, we have a building in Elk Point that we received for $1 back in 2000. The government helped us, provincial government helped us
Do you need
to
help for that?
renovate that. What's that? Yeah, if we could sell that
To get a
building.
loan for that.
We don't have a loan. We did get some grants for that, that we renovated in 2012. It is larger than we need. Times have changed. Our consultants now, generally are working remotely out of the Edmonton area usually. That's worked really, really well because they're closer to you folks. But we do get some revenue out of that as we've leased out offices to some accounting firms, and actually Scott Sear holds an office there in the building as well. So that has helped to defray some of the costs of running that building. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we need a facility, and we have a pretty good one in Elk Point. We've been treated really well. So.
And then secondly, can you give us an update on the plans for the Rochester Library?
Yeah, I don't have much that I can tell you. I did speak to the library manager yesterday. They were in Elk Point as we had a meeting. And really at this point, I don't know much outside of what the school has said. So it really comes down to Councillor Chamzak will know much more being on the board there. But we are there to support them, whatever the outcome is.
If you'd like, we are awaiting a meeting.
Sorry, can you just repeat that? Sorry.
We are awaiting some meetings with Aspen View as well. So
Okay, so in the works. Does anybody else have any further questions, comments? Alrighty, I would like to commend you and I'd like to commend the board. There is some amazing work that's going on, and your success stories that you've shared with us today are absolutely amazing. And I'm just really excited. I have to go on this your Go Library self-registration website. My library card is expired. So,
That'd be-
and it just expired, hey,
Oh.
you know, but yeah, this is an excellent way to be able to do that and to do that remotely. And I know a lot more people are, like you mentioned, as we heard from you in the Summer Village, that you were listening to a book on
Yes.
on the way up in your vehicle. And I think that is really super cool.
Yes.
So yeah, you guys are doing amazing work here. The region is so appreciative to have you here, and thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for all you do.
Appreciate it.
Board two. All right.
Yeah, and same thing, Dr. Taylor James, it was a great presentation that you did for the Summer Villages last weekend and that, and thank you for this one, because
You're welcome.
there's some great successes here, and Counselor Chamzik loves libraries.
We love her.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate it and your time here with us. So safe travels.
Thank you.
And, be careful out there. It's going to be a hot one and windy one, and we're hearing all kinds of emergency alerts. So my
Yeah.
thoughts go out to everyone that are dealing with those as well. Do. All right.
you.
Take good care. Thank you.
I'll leave this
Just,
for you.
thank
Yeah.
you so much. We can just take a few minute recess while we say our goodbyes, please. We'll come back at 11:25. All right, I think we have Counselor Cromwell joining us again on Zoom. We are at 8.2 of our agenda, which is on page 224 of your agenda package, and it is for meeting calendars for June and July. Is there anyone who would like to begin? Go ahead, Counselor Chamzik.
Sorry, July 14th, FCSS, and I have Pembina Zones there as well. And the 15th is the village library meeting. And town library meeting on the 17th.
Okay, is it confirmed Pembina Zones is on the 14th?
I could
Or
be
the
an old
21st?
date. It could be.
Could be. Do we have that information?
Yes.
It's the 14th? Yeah, okay. Pembina Zone. Okay, anybody else? Counselor Mins?
Got on the 14th of June, Athabasca Watershed Council AGM meeting on Teams. And I'm 100% sure we have a regional waste commission meeting in June here. I think it's on the 23rd, but I'll just have to make sure on that, but I'm sure that there's one in June here.
So tentative on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Counselor Anderson?
The multiplex meeting is the 16th, but also the multiplex AGM is the 16th of June. And I believe there's supposed to be a Village of Boyle IMC meeting on June 25th. But still waiting for confirmation.
Okay, so tentative IMC, June 25th. Boyle and County. Okay, anybody else? Counselor Gerlach? Okay, Blue Heron. I'll go ahead and add a few myself. Been invited to both the Boyle and the Athabasca Symposium on June 3rd and June 5th. Also invited to the Portage College Convocation on June 5th. There's a tentative ALT planning meeting on June 9th and June 23rd. Regional Collaboration Committee meeting on June 19th. We also have been invited to the Wildfire Awareness Day at the riverfront on June 13th. And as well as the National Indigenous Peoples Day ceremonies on the June 20th at between 4 and 7 on the riverfront. What else do I have here? Oh, I'm assuming, and I didn't quite catch it, but the July 1st, 9:30 Athabasca Regional Waste, that's canceled, I'm assuming, for July 1st Canada Day?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah,
no,
that's a canceled
I won't be
thing. Okay. Sorry.
there. Yeah, no,
So-
that's why I'm shocked. It's like, what?
Yeah, already. Okay, and just with following our historical practice of July and August of holding one council meeting, is council, I see there's July 8th is here and July 31st is council in favor of canceling the July 8th council meeting.
Could I propose we wait into June?
Sorry, Councillor Cromwell, Councillor Hall just mentioned to propose to wait until June for that conversation. Was there something you wanted to add?
Nope, that sounds very fair. Yeah, I'm definitely good with holding off on that one.
Okay, so we'll leave that for further discussion at our next council meeting. And I think that's all I had to add. Does anybody else have any further? Alrighty, so if we're ready, somebody have a motion to accept the calendars as amended? Councillor Gerlach would like to accept the calendars as amended, and if have no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and I see no opposed. Thank you. Alrighty. So, we were going to go into reports. 10.1 F will be discussed in closed, which moves us to 10.1 AI, which was our Summer Village, Island Lake South, I believe it was Island Lake South. Yep. Meeting that took place. And just, to give a heads up, I will be providing a regional community collaboration attraction and engagement report, and I apologize, I was not able to complete that in time. On to you.
Okay, so I guess met there on Saturday, May 24th, 10 a.m. It was hosted at the Summer Village Island Lake South New Hall, not New Hall, it was added on, beautiful place. First off, everybody got the agenda prior, so just looking at it here, we had Ida Edwards from the town reported on River Rats Festival. and June 30th to July 1st. And then she also reported at the same time, Athabasca Watershed Council on the there's a questionnaire being sent out regarding access to water through the Alberta government, which was a shock to my understanding to everybody. I didn't make that telephone call, but I guess looking at interbasin transfers. So there is a website that you can go on, and if you want to do the questionnaire on it, the survey, and that you're able to do that. I think I could probably send that out, or did we send it out to all council?
Yeah, I sent it out to all
Okay,
council.
good,
and
yeah. And that's just to talk about, my thoughts on that is they're looking at Athabasca River and the Mighty Peace. Just because there's less people up north to actually have a discussion about this, but that's my own point of view. And what it'll end up doing is if it works up here, well, then why won't it work down south? So for interbasin transfers, but that's my thoughts. Everybody could have a different thought. And then regarding that, actually the Alberta environmental person that we have on this board, from my understanding, was very shocked that this was even coming out. So this was part and parcel higher up in the government and to push this, and they're just informing their environmental people now about this possibility. So, and it's all got to do with water.
For clarity, did you say from the Peace? No, from the Athabasca to the Peace?
Or from the Peace to the Athabasca.
I thought the Peace was short
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the Site C down.
What's that?
I thought Peace was running short because of Site C.
It could be. So with the understanding that, but the Athabasca doesn't have a lot of it doesn't have a lot of allocation on there yet, but start moving that. Biggest thing is the interbasin transfers. Where are they trying to say, you know, and that's when you actually look into it, I think there's a little bit more regarding it than they're saying. But that's the government. So then we had as you heard, James McDonald through the Northern Library Lights give his presentation. Very good. Talking about getting each summer village to maybe get their own library board for better funding. And that was really looked at positively through the summer villages, and then that way they don't have to build their own library. They could maybe enhance the existing libraries in here. So that was a really good presentation. Then ExploreNet gave a presentation regarding bringing in fiber optics into Athabasca through Athabasca County, and then coming out all the way to Whispering Hills, it sounded like. So in 2025, so be ready for another fiber optic line going through.
Can I just touch on that?
Yeah.
So just to touch on that one as well, in speaking with the representative Farouk, there was a bit of conversation and I guess he was feeling a bit, this is out of my control. So what's happening here is the Universal Broadband Fund and the government determine where this fiber is going to go. It's not up to ExploreNet to make that decision. And so there was quite a bit of conversation as to, well, how come it's not coming here and why is it going there? And so Farouk will be providing a contacts for our municipal governments to be able to have that conversation with the people who are making the decisions on where that fiber goes, so that local governments might be able to lobby, you know, where they would like to see that particular infrastructure. So just a little note on that, information's coming.
Yeah, and it's looking like they're going to go into like they want to go into subdivisions, and that's why they're going to Whispering Hills, is because they're going to go in and go to the back to cul-de-sacs, and then they have a line in there. They want to go right to the house. This is not a Wi-Fi design like MCS net. This is right to the house. So we asked them at that point in time, okay, well, what's it gonna cost to get hooked up? And it's like, well, I don't know that. So there's more information to come, eh? So and then we moved on to Kendra Gilbert with Bale's presentation. Did a great job promoting Bales with the municipalities of mainly being involved, maybe even into discussion with land use bylaws and stuff like that, being in around the lakes and working together and just having a formative and productive discussions together. If the municipalities have questions, please reach out to Bales. They're not there to hammer everything down the throats. They're there for information and working together. So that was actually a great presentation to, not walking in with a big stick. It was more to help administration and help the municipalities move along. Went on to the Athabasca water line. So they asked me to just give a quick update on that, and which I did. And there was some discussion about, and I seen it today, termination point. That was a huge thing in there was where is this going to stop? And it was like, oh, here we go. So like I told him, I says our main scope right now, as far as I know, is to get the alignment through the town of Athabasca and get the alignment all the way out to Island Lake. And then once we got that determined, then possibly the see where the budget's sitting and the termination point will be decided then. What was put through as the pre-design, or not pre-design, the pre-study to get the funding may not be totally to point of where this line gets the termination of the line. So but I also did kind of mention to him that there's been no agreement signed by the Summer Villages yet to Athabasca County. So give them that to think about anyway. So, and everybody seemed to be really good with it. Then fire protection and fire costs came up, and the town of Athabasca was there with Mr. Blay, Mayor Blay, and he kind of jumped right in there and said, well, I think that's on there on this due to the agreement that the town is looking for their fire department with the Summer Villages and that. And which I thank him very much. That from there, it went to, the Summer Village meeting went into closed. So we were asked to leave, and all 6 Summer Villages, I think they were going to be talking about the fire costs and stuff like that. So in between there, actually, when Rob Belay was discussing the fire agreements, he actually brought in the regional healthcare and retention committee update, and telling the Summer Villages we have 3 nurses staying in a transitional house right now, and 6 nurses in our area are in training to open to try to get, once you get trained up, to open up Boyle Hospital. Nurse practitioner update, what's happening there. What else? Just a lot about the healthcare and retention. Thank them very much for their donation to the committee. And if they want to maybe come on board a little bit more, they could, representation on the board can be looked at to give them a say. And there was discussion about bursary programs for rural students and locals to get a bursary, then come back with and work in the area. and that, so it was all around, it was a great information, great meeting. I think we were out of there about, what, 12:30. Started at 10, we were out of there at 12:30, so. So, yeah. That's my
Thank you.
report.
Thank you very much. I should correct
Anything else?
myself. Yeah, yeah. I should just correct when I had said, it was the Island Lake South. It was actually hosted by the Summer Village of South Baptiste. And it was at the Island Lake South Recreational, Hall, which is a beautiful, location. And I just wanted to send a huge thank you for the invitation to be there. It was great to meet everyone and I look forward to connecting again. And one of the phrases that I walked away from that I'll coin from Kendra Gilbert was nature is a healing force. And I thought that was pretty powerful considering we have an abundance of it here and just get out and enjoy that. And Bales is looking, of course, to be part of that conversation in the beginning for planning and stewardship. So it was an excellent meeting. I really enjoyed it. And like I say, I look forward to connecting again. So thank you very much for the report and the information. I think that Councillor Hall.
Just two questions. Did you say there was a survey on the interbasin transfer? And if so, is that something that can be circulated through our county social media channels? Because I think that's something residents really need to weigh in.
For sure. I did forward it via email. I did send it to CAO, so I'm not sure if you've seen it yet. It's kind of mixed in a little bit there, but yeah, for sure. It would be great. I agree to be on there.
Secondly, there's some rumblings about the Summer Villagers wanting a new fire truck. Did they bring that up with you, President?
Nope, if they talked about that at all, it was when they went into close, so. Yeah, nothing was discussed really. It was more discussion between the town and the Summer Villages.
Awesome. All right. Are there any further questions? All right. So the next report, we have to enter into close for that conversation. So may I have a motion to go into close? Councillor Mins, Councillor Gerlach. Councillor Gerlach would like us to enter into closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go. I believe that's 7-0. No. Thank you.